Hi, y'all. We will be with you guys shortly. You will be hearing from A. Collins Law or April Collins. We are having a little bit of a glitch with the video camera, so give us a second. While you wait, how about you guys get your questions queued up for April? April is talking about starting a professional association in your industry. So if that is an area that you want to enter into, please let us know. I know a lot of you guys are trying to form nonprofits and other things. So make sure you guys are aware. So I've given you guys enough time to get your questions ready for April. And she's going to talk to you today about starting a professional association in your industry. So April, if you are ready, we will get the people. Are y'all excited? Can I get some words, excitement? I don't want to bring April over here. Y'all not excited. So are y'all excited? Can I get a comment? I get a shout out? Can I get a, Nina, you guys are doing such a great job. Can I get any of that right now? No, I can't. Y'all let me know. All right. Well, April is here and I'm going to start her out shortly. Boom. Take off the picture. And now y'all are with April.
Hey, everyone. I am so sorry about all of the technical difficulties, but we're in here. And today, like she said, like Nina said, I'm going to be talking about starting a professional association in your industry. First, let me just say how important it is if you are in a professional industry that does not have a lot of representation. I would say it's important to start an association because a few reasons. One reason, of course, would be networking. I mean, networking is something very important that we should all, be wanting to do in our industries. But let me go back to talk about, because I know Nina knows who I am, but let me make sure everybody knows who I am. I am April Collins. I'm an attorney here in Alabama. I practice primarily personal injury, meaning auto accidents, truck accidents, wrongful death, and I also will handle like slips and falls and things like that. So of course, if you ever need me in Alabama, I'm here for you guys. But going back to the professional association, networking is really one of the big reasons why I think we should start professional associations in our industry. Here in Alabama, we just started one for the Black women lawyers in our state. And so I'm kind of fresh fresh in this, and we're like really in the middle of it right now of getting this association off the ground and doing what we can to make sure that it's a success. Um, and so going back to why you need to do that, and why it was so important, or why it is so important in Alabama, there are about 800 and something Black women lawyers in the state of Alabama. There are 18,000 total. So if you think about that, think about 800 and something Black women lawyers in the state. And some of these women are not actually practicing in the state. They may just be licensed here. And so you really could take that number down a little bit. But you think about that versus 18,000 in the whole state. There's a need for a space for us, just like it may be an industry that you're in. I think about when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about some of these industries where there are Black women, but the representation is, not great. Like, say, for instance, in trucking, people don't think there are a lot of Black women who drive trucks, but there are. I mean, not a whole lot, but there are some. Black women barbers. I've also thought about, I've seen some Black women firefighters. So there are different industries where representation is not as great, as we would want it to be. So starting a professional association in your specific industry will help, I think, bring together a great network, and also some camaraderie. Um, Another reason why I think it is important to start a professional association in your industry is depending on what, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but depending on what your goals are, it could be a great resource for the community. It's a way to give back to the community, but also a way to enhance visibility in that area. And so, um, that's another reason I think it's important that we start these associations in these specific industries. I know there are a lot of niche industries, and so I'm saying Black women firefighters and barbers and truck drivers, but I mean, this could be a wide range of industries that can be represented here. So I know one of the things that people are probably wanting to know is how do you do this? And like I said, we're in the middle of getting this off of the ground here in Alabama, so we're in the thick of it, and there's a process that we went through, and I'll talk about our process. But one of the things I think that we all have to, when you're thinking about starting this, you got to think about, after the why, which, we talked about that a little bit, um, who is going to be your target? And we always, people talk about your target market, and it kind of is like a target market. Who is your target? Who are the people that you are wanting to start this for? And when you think about that, the way that I did it, I kind of initially, when I had this vision, I kind of shot it to a couple of people that I knew, and they're like, "Oh yes, this will be great. This will be needed." And so, hopefully, you have some other, women, or if you're a man watching this, but hopefully, you have other women that in your specific industry that you can just ask, like, "What do you think about this?" So before I even got started, I had this vision, and then I was like, let me ask a couple of people to see what they think. And they were all for it, and so that kind of gave me a little bit more energy, got me energized to start going forward with that. So yeah, get your people together. These people, of course, need to be people who have a common interest in what you're doing. They need to have a vision to start this organization. And these people can be considered founding members or charter members. I know right now we are trying to get our charter members. We're telling people, hey, if you pay your dues by January 1st, 2021, you can become a charter member. And, that will help, I think, gain interest in your organization. People want to be a part of something great or the start of something. So that will definitely help in gathering people. But you want to make sure that these people have a common interest. And more than likely, if they're in your industry, they're barbers or they're truckers or firefighters. You have some common interest already with just that, being in the same field. But also, make sure they share your vision. What I did last year was, well, no, it was actually this year. Well, it started last year. We did this dinner and kind of got some buzz going around. Oh, this is the first Black women lawyers dinner, that we've had for women over the state, and so that kind of got some buzz going. But this year in January, there was a group of us who got together and just talked about the vision for the association. And so those people that you text or you call, make sure that they're on board and that, you guys can get together. Right now COVID is going on, so you probably won't be able to sit around a big conference table like we were able to, but maybe on Zoom or however you do it. But you guys can talk about why the association is needed, and the vision for it. And from there, you'll have kind of like your marching orders to keep going. Um, Another thing, of course, is the name. So when I first thought about starting this, it kind of first started as a Facebook group, and that's another way to generate some buzz. First, start a Facebook group. Black women truckers in wherever in your state or in the nation, however you want to do it. But we started out, I think, as the Black Lady Lawyers of Alabama, or Black, I can't even remember. And so that's how I started the Facebook group, kind of getting some buzz. But once we really wanted to become official, we decided to, change the name to make it something. So right now it's Black Women Lawyers, or not right now, but it is the Black Women Lawyers um, Association of Alabama. So after you get your people, y'all are going to have your conversation. You're going to talk about your vision. You're going to have your common interests. Come up with a name. We had a couple of names that we were going back and forth with, but we put it out to the people who were at the first meeting for a vote, and we voted on the Black Women Lawyers Association of Alabama. So I think that's the fun part. Like this, it's going to be work, but it's going to be fun too. And coming up with like your names and your logo, because you're going to need a logo. Um, Nina, can you show the logo?
Yes, I absolutely can. So this is the logo at the top that you guys are seeing. So I'm covering up April just for a second so y'all can see the dope logo very top of this flyer.
Yes. Hold on. So yeah. So the logo that we had, of course, that came after the name, and you get somebody. So the really dope thing about this is when you get, and this is Black women mean mean business, right? So I'm going to talk about Black women. When you get Black women together, there's absolutely nothing that we cannot do, and nothing that we won't work hard to get accomplished. So when we put this out there, we got our name. I mean, immediately somebody's like, "Hey, I got somebody who can do a logo." Um, just as simple as that. So you get your core group, get some women that you know are gonna work and do the work, and you'll come up with these things. Like we started in January, COVID happened, so we kind of lost February, March, April, probably even May. And we may have come back around maybe this summer and started thinking back on it. But truly, from like September of this year to now, we have been working to, get this off the ground. And so, well, get your people, get your vision, come up with your name, and then logo. Those are very important things that you want to do first. Then you can decide to come up with a mission statement. And of course, your mission statement is going to communicate the purpose of your organization. You want your vision, you got to have that purpose. You got to know where you're going. That's going to be your driving force throughout, perpetuity to forever. And then you want to write your association's bylaws. Now, with that part, now some of these things that I'm going to be talking about, you might want to get with Nina to actually help you or assist you with writing bylaws and getting your constitution together. You may want to get an attorney to assist you with that because you want to be official, of course. You want to make sure that the bylaws address the membership, what the duties are going to be, how you're going to hold your meetings, and all of the other guiding principles that you're going to need. That's where your bylaws are going to come in handy. And that's going to all go back to, your vision and having your core group. You're going to need to elect officers. And the good thing about this was many of the people who were at our core meeting, our visionary meeting, whatever you want to call it, back in January of this year, they, decided they wanted to become officers of the organization. And it's just so great to have a group of people who come together, who start together, and continue on that path. And so I was just so happy that they shared in the vision, and not only shared in the vision, but actually wanted to get to work and get this started. Um, So you'll do that. You'll do those things. And all of that's going to, your bylaw is going to talk about your meetings and when they're going to be held and just all of that. And again, get you an attorney if you need one to help to assist you with getting that off of the ground. Um, let's see. One of the things, and this is Nina, did you want to come in?
Oh, I was just going to ask you a couple questions, just that they probably wanted to know about it, mainly because I'm just happy that somebody created something in Alabama. Because I was, who can I refer XYZ to? And I just send a document, and assume we'll have a list serve, and we'll just be able to have people look you up on the website and find all the people that you've created. So that's all. I just wanted to be able to ask, kind of what the next step is. If after you get that group, how do you see them evolving? A lot of times people don't think about it, but they build the association. But how do you foresee it evolving, or what's your big vision that you have for the group?
Well, with us, and this is going to be different. I'm talking about a legal association because I'm a lawyer, but in other fields, you're going to have a different. You're going to have a different vision.
Mhm.
But there are bar associations, and I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if that's me, but there are bar associations in the state. We already have some, and they offer things like continuing education credits. Um, they offer different conferences, and also, I mean, the education is going to be like one of the big key things, and career development. Um, we want to do that the same as the other bar associations have done it. But the difference with us is that we're going to our focus and our vision is on Black women and the Black family. And so all of the events that we put on or we hold, we're going to make sure it ties back to that vision. How can this help? How does this event or this education opportunity assist Black women and families and their families? And I'm kind of going to be giving away a little bit of information right now that we just had a meeting, a planning meeting, and so we have some things planned for 2021. But one of our first events that I'm so excited about is we're going to be hosting a self defense class during the month, domestic violence month, which is in March, I believe, or April. I don't know. My program's chair, if she's listening, maybe she can, make sure that I'm saying that right. It's either March or April, but we're hosting that. And so, of course, it's the Domestic Violence Month, hosting a self defense class. I mean, it helps people in general, but of course, we want the Black woman, all Black women to be a part of that event. And so, the goal or the vision for this organization, of course, this organization is going to live on forever. I think, I hope, I pray. But for now, and I think that's one thing we have to realize when you're starting an organization or, association, you're not going to accomplish everything like today or tomorrow or even in the year. So we are starting while we're starting, we're excited, we're pushing, we want to make this a great organization. We're also understanding that we're just starting. So everything is not going to come immediately, but we have a vision to have an app, and the app will have, whoever is a member will have access to that app. We can, communicate there, we can network there, we can, refer cases back and forth there. Um, just keep in touch. We can keep in touch through that app. That's coming in the future. That's one of my goals. Hopefully, my before my reign ends, uh, we can have that app developed for the group. Um, I have another vision to have, because we are lawyers. We have law students, and we have like students who are wanting to go to law school. And so one of my things that we're going to also start is a mentorship program. And I think in any industry, this can be important because I'm going back to the truckers. I don't know why I'm just feeling this, black woman, black women's trucker group, but um, there may be students or other black teenagers or children or whoever that are interested in this trucking business. And if you mentor them while they are young, I believe they'll have a better um, idea of what to expect and be able to walk into their purpose. And so, mentorship is one of the other programs that we're looking into. We have so many ideas, and it's just so exciting. I know we won't get to everything in this first year, but we have so many ideas and so many great things in store. And so, thank you, Nina, for that question. I know it was a long answer to get there, but but just know, like, whenever you start, I want to make sure, because sometimes the road ahead, when we're looking to start to do anything, really anything worth doing, once we have this vision, and a lot of times we get stuck because we're looking at where we want to be in 5 years, and we're thinking today, like, oh, this is where I want to be in 5 years, and you get overwhelmed. And so I'm trying to be very patient with myself and with the group, with the organization, with the association, because I understand that this is not something that's just going to be here for this year or next year. This is something that goes in, throughout. And 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it's going to be an amazing organization. I mean, I believe it already is, but you're going to have more programs and things like that in the years to come. So we have to kind of make sure that we are realistic with our goals, but also have goals that are attainable, realistic. But then you still want goals that are kind of far reaching, because you want to meet those in the years to come. Um, Board members, you have to find your people. Who are your people? And like I talked about, those people who were at the initial meeting and they wanted to serve as officers or board members. Get your select crew, and they'll help. Um, we talked about membership, targeting who we target, and of course, those are going to be people who are in your field. You want to target those. Are there any other associations like this that exist? That's one thing you want to think about. Are there any other Black women trucking associations in the country or in your area? Now, for Black women lawyers, yes, there are other Black women lawyer groups in the country, but there was not one specifically in Alabama for Black women lawyers of Alabama. And I thought that was important because we're in this state. We know what this state needs. We know what the women of this state need. So I think that we can have a very huge impact on the Black woman and family here in Alabama. The other associations that are national, they're great. All of that is great, but I just felt like the reach would be really, really great because we're right here in this state. And so, yeah, I'm so excited about what's going to be to come. And Nina, I'm going to pull you in just a second, because one of the things that you have to think about is, should this association be incorporated? Should you be a nonprofit? And I think that you need to be you have to be officially incorporated or nonprofit. Like, there's no way that you can get out there and and hold yourself up to be this great organization if you have not um, officially filed the paperwork with the state and maybe gotten your 501c3 or 7 or status with the federal government. Like, you have to do that because you want to be official. So Nina, if you can just come in just a minute to talk about nonprofit or incorporating, and just give them a little bit about why they will want to do that.
Yeah, I would be happy to. Y'all got me in the middle of eating because I forgot to eat my food. Um, but incorporation, what April is talking about is that if you form an association, a lot of people actually have associations throughout Birmingham. There's Birmingham Bar Association, the Magic City Bar Association, Alabama Lawyers Association. One of those is not minority specific. The other two are, and both of those are considered 501c3. So once you actually form your corporation, because nonprofits at its basis is a corporation. And the reason why it's a corporation is because there's all these rules. There's rules like you got to have bylaws, you have 3 people, you guys can't be related, all sorts of weird things that, the everything boils down to. And so you can have, people on your board that's connected to you family wise, but it can't be the only 3 people on the board is all that. So you got to make sure that you guys pay specific attention to that. And then once you've formed, the issue is the bylaws. Everybody's got to agree on the rules before you decide to bring them on as board of director or a member of the board, because those rules are going to govern the organization. Well, if you get 3 people in a room, that's hard. Imagine getting 15 people in the room, because you probably need like 15 chairs for all the different departments. And all of them have to agree that this is how the board is going to run. Now, typically, the president, the one who creates the organization or is inspired to create it, has a lot of say so, and people just kind of go with it. But a lot of times, that's not what happens, especially when we get with lawyers. We got to read it all, got to look at it again, make sure that I didn't agree to something. I'm not going to pay you XYZ money. I keep my board real small for my nonprofit. It's 5. We'll build as we go. But that's something to keep in mind. And when she's talking about bylaws, like that's not the only documents you're going to ever need, because people are going to come to your organization. They're going to want to give something to you. You're going to have paperwork for donors. You're going to have donor request letters, things like that. So as you're forming it, those are the big things. Once you get all those papers straight, then and only then do you file for that 501c3 coveted status. And the reason why is you need those papers to file. And you don't want anything not, teed up. So yes, you need the bylaws, and that's pretty much it. But I like to get everything. Like I want the board proposal. I like all that stuff. If the board has a plan of action for grant fund, I like to have all that stuff for them, or at least advise them to get all that stuff, because the first thing you're going to do is apply for grants, and you can't do it without certain documents. So that's something that I usually advise my clients to do. Get your stuff in order, then apply. Because if you get your stuff in order, you just sitting over here with a 501c3 and you ain't got nothing to submit to these companies, they're going to look at you crazy when you try to ask them for $10,000 funding and you don't even have, the information, your profits and losses, your budget. You got to plan that stuff out. So those are the little things that, really count. People don't count it a lot, but that's all I got. That's all I got. But
Well, thank you. And I think that, well, I'll say this. If y'all are looking to start an association, and you have questions or need some guidance on that part of it, forming, officially forming, talk to Nina. She'll be able to, get you what you need. Another thing, she was talking about money, like grants. Of course, you're going to need money for the organization. And one of the ways to start getting money is through your membership, the payment of dues. And so you got to think about, okay, what do we want the dues to be? And of course, the first year you probably don't want to be, or the first few years, you don't want to have dues that are super expensive. You call too much, people don't want to pay, but you do need enough to operate, and you got to know what your budget is going to be. And that's one of the reasons why it's really good to have a good treasurer who is, we have a treasurer here who she's very into, financing and making sure that the money goes where it needs to be, and that we are operating within our budget. So you make sure that you have somebody who is set to do that, and who is not just a big spender and is going to approve everything. Like, there are some things that we were talking about at the meeting last week, and she's like, wait a minute, hold on now, like like, do we want to spend that, or so you want somebody like that who's going to, be a good, going to check you, or check check the organization to make sure the money is being spent wisely. Um, when we talked about membership, one of the things that I really love about how we structured this organization and the way that you can structure your organization is we have regular members who, of course, are women who are licensed to practice in Alabama. They don't actually have to be actively practicing, but they hold their license. And then we have associate members who can be either paralegals or other court staff. They could be just they're black women, but they're in the legal field, but they're not attorneys. Then we have law student members who are in law schools, currently in law school, and then we have student members who would be like in undergraduate school. So it's like a tier, and I think that that's very important because it keeps the longevity of the organization, and it allows I think it creates when we talk about mentorship. I talked about mentorship earlier. It creates this step stool to where you're getting, in 5 years or maybe I'll say 10 years, the women who were student members are likely going to be regular members if that was their path to go into law school. So in your industry, if you're a barber, then look at the high school students who are maybe in tech school or cosmetology school and find out a way that you can make them a member. $10, $5 dues or something like that. And what we are doing is we are sponsoring, um, our board and our officers are sponsoring some of these law students. I mean, their dues are probably I think $20, but we still want to sponsor them so that they know that we're invested in them, and if they need that, because law school is not cheap. So even that $20, they could be eating with that. So we want to make sure that we show them that we're invested in them, and so we're sponsoring some law students that we know. And hey, if you're watching this and you're a lawyer in Alabama and you know a law student, you can sponsor her to become a member. I think that's very, very important to reach back, all the way back. Don't just go back to, the law students. We're going to go back down to the undergraduate students. And in that, when Nina was asking me about programs, that's another thing that we're looking to do, programs with the law students and, the students in undergraduate school, and just talk about, the legal profession, not just the legal profession, but being black women in general. Like it, we look, we are, and I'm biased, but I think we're the most lit of just ever. I mean, I love black women, and I feel like just being able to reach back to those students and just tell them, hey, they got everything that they need, and so that's important to just reach back and bring those people in. Um, well, I just have some. I mean, I could just share forever, but I want to make sure that you guys are excited about starting your professional association in your industry, and also knowing how to do that, like the first steps you can take. And I guess one of the things that I would want to say, back to what Nina was saying, think about what you can offer in your professional association, not just to the members. Yeah, okay. First, see what you can offer, of course, first to your members, because your members are really very important and going to be most important, because you want to make sure that the organization works and functions for them. So I don't want to say not just for the members, but yes, first for the members. But also, what can you offer for your community, for others in your area? Um, who can you be an advocate for? And if you are a black woman firefighter, you can, advocate for or help, other black women who want to be firefighters, or who not maybe not even want to be firefighters, but there are other areas where your organization can impact them. So make sure, starting out, going all the way back to what I first said, your vision needs to be clear. And from there, I think once you know your vision and your purpose, what you want your organization to accomplish, where you want it to be in, 5, 10 years. Then you have those steps. I mean, you got to have the vision first. That's, I think, the most important thing ever. Um, Nina, did you have anything? I think I'm, unless you have something specifically that you wanted to ask.
So I did had a couple of questions. So boil it down to three tips. You know they like three tips. So what are three tips if you want to get started today and you are just ready, but you're just like, I'm lost in the stalls, I'm overwhelmed. She just told me all these stuff I gotta do. And now I don't know if I want to do this professional association because it sounds like a lot of work. So tell them how easy it is to at least get started. It is hard once you actually commit to it, but getting started, what did you do? What was the first thing you did? The second and the third? That would be very helpful.
Okay, let me say this first. I'm going to just go make a shameless plug. I wrote a book a couple of years ago, Only the Strong Thrive. And in the book, I talk about how, things that I wanted to do. And the first thing, just the vision, the goals, and everything. And in the book, I talk about the first thing is just to take a step, take the first step. And I think the very easiest thing for you right now on taking the first step is sending that text or picking up that phone and calling. I hope you know somebody in your industry that you can say, hey, girl, I was thinking about this.
Mhm.
What do you think about it? Or, get that first phone call, that first text out, and then see what the feedback is. If the feedback is great, great, keep pushing. Even if the feedback is not great, keep pushing. So that's the first thing. Get that text out. See, get some buzz going with your friends or your colleagues. Second thing is, well, this will be a part of your vision as well. Like I was talking about, make sure you know what your purpose is. Just write a sentence and say, I want to start this professional association in this industry because, period. Whatever that is, because then put a period at the end of it. That's your purpose to start. That's your purpose to start. And then the third thing I would say is to, let me see, what would be the third thing that I would do? Because the way that I did it was probably like, all
Hmm. Now, you know what it is. What was that next thing you did with all the? What did you do? You booked the what and set the.
the meeting is, you
There
think
you
that
go.
we did that meeting. I got a group of, I put out, well, you know what, let me see, because you want to do this easy, you want to be easy. Start a Facebook group. Super easy, super easy. That's what I did. Started a Facebook group, started adding black women lawyers that I knew, and then telling them to add people, and they were adding. And you know from there, I think that if you get that group on Facebook or whatever, your Facebook probably be great. Then that's where you can start posting your messages. Hey, can who wants to come to this meeting? And then you have your communication tool. So generate buzz with your colleagues, get your vision and your purpose together, start that Facebook group or that whatever kind of group you're going to be able to communicate, because communication is going to be key to first start getting people together. And then, I mean, I know you didn't ask for a four, but yeah, we did hold that meeting. And women that I had never even met before came. And that's when I knew how important and how impactful this was going to be, when people that you don't even know share your vision and they're on board. Like some of our officers, like I mean, I've heard of them, I've known their names, but my first time like meeting them, was, yeah, one of my first time meeting her, seeing her face to face, was at our planning meeting last week. So you got to, generate that buzz, and once you do that, everything, I promise you, take those small steps and everything's going to come together.
And Ladera Lee, we are enjoying you being here watching this information. So I'm glad that you're enjoying the information being shared by April. She loves that type of feedback. We love feedback. So that's really good information. All right. So, April, we're at the part of your talk where you basically talk about you, the business, what you do, kind of go up a little bit in depth if you have any offers or opportunities that you're running right now. We're at that part of the talk, and then we'll open the floor to questions that people may have. Renee wanted to say that she was so excited for your talk, and this has been great so far. That was early on when we were trying to get them excited, so they have really enjoyed it so far, so people are excited. So tell us about A. Collins Law. So this is taking that off for a second, your topic, and talking about you, and you can shameless plug all you want in here.
Well, okay, I'll talk about me for a little bit, but I am so excited about this organization. So first I want to talk about the organization. If you are a Black woman, lawyer in Alabama, law student, undergrad, paralegal, if you're in the legal industry or want to be in the legal industry, go ahead and join the organization. We are, you can follow us on Instagram, Black Women Lawyers of Alabama, Association of Alabama. Our website's gonna be coming soon, and we sent the email blast today to everybody that we know in the state of Alabama. The list of all the Black women, we sent it to you guys so you can go ahead and join the organization. If you join by January 1st of 2021, you will be considered a charter member and you get a free t-shirt. I didn't mention that in the talk, but I will say, hey, provide incentives. I think that's a good incentive to, they get a charter member t-shirt, and that's included in their dues. As far as me, I'm a personal injury lawyer. I help people who have been injured. I want to make sure that, we can help get them back on track. I've been doing personal injury in my office as Collins Law for about 5 years. But if you take it all the way back to before I even went to law school, I worked as a case manager at a personal injury law firm back what was that? 2005, 2006, like so long ago. And then I went to law school and, all that got out, had kids. I started my practice at home in my basement. And I really honestly just came out and got into my office space a couple of years ago. But I was working at home in my basement, and personal injury it came back around. I started out doing fair housing work because I worked for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We were doing fair housing work. And so when I started my practice, I kind of was doing that. But personal injury, I started there and it just came back kind of full circle. And I'm just blessed and so happy to be able to do, work in my passion. And I think that gives you a fulfilled life whenever you're able to do like what your heart really wants you to do. And so I'm there and I'm just, happy. But I also, like I mentioned, my book, let me see. So this is my book. It's called Only the Strong Thrive. I wrote this book a couple of years ago. Go on Amazon. You'll see it 5-star reviews. This book changed my life and I think changed some people's lives. And so it talks about my journey. I was a teenage mother, had a lot of family issues, but in spite of all of that, I am here where I am. I have helped found the Black Women Lawyers Association of Alabama. I'm the first president of that. I'm just full, I guess you would say, because if you read this book and how it starts, you wouldn't really imagine it ending the way that it ends. And well, it's not even done yet. I feel like I'm just getting started.
I love that. So now, if there are no questions from the audience, of course, we can't let you have no questions. So we have our own questions. This should be a little fun, and this will help them get to know you a little bit more. So they should be easy, but it should be fun to answer. Tell me more about you that I can't find on paper. So the stuff that you mentioned is out. You can't do that. So something that's unique, something that is, oh my gosh, I didn't know she did that too. That's that stuff that you put at the bottom of your resume, such as hobbies. So that would be those things.
Ooh, what? Oh my goodness. I don't even know. I don't even know if it will be interesting, but I don't know. So going back to my book, a lot of my life story is in here. So I tell people, yeah, I'm serious. I'm literally an open book because you read here and you read some stuff that you're like, oh, really, that happened to you. But I don't know if this is interesting, but I interned for a federal judge when I was in law school. Interned at the Supreme Court of Alabama. Oh, I wrote a legal opinion. That I guess that's interesting. So in law school, when I worked at the Supreme Court, this is so nerdy. Like you have to really be a lawyer, or so if you're not, hold on, so if you're not a lawyer and you're listening to this, you're probably like, that ain't even interesting. But I I wrote a legal opinion overturning a conviction, a criminal conviction, while I was in law school. And so I wrote the opinion, and some people don't understand that the clerks and those are actually the ones that are writing, and then the judge will go back through and maybe make some changes. So I wrote this opinion, and how about like there were really no changes? Like I just knew, like I was like, they're not gonna overturn this. Like I'm writing it to be overturned because I feel like the law, favors it to be overturned. And like there were no changes. The judge, signed off on it. Everybody agreed. I think there were no there may not have been any dissenting opinions, but yeah. So that's like just really cool and nerdy, but
That's
yeah.
a nerd.
Yeah.
We still love you. All right. So this is usually how our listeners connect with you. So this is your ouch point. Let's get real. What was your struggle? Because a lot of people think that you have success now and you've never struggled, and there's no way that you just got this easily. It just all came to you, right? It's all just given to you, right? That's exactly what happened to you. Prom. So tell us about your ouch point and your struggle. That help people connect better to this dream can be real for them.
Listen, which part of the struggle do you want to hear?
Girl, whichever part you think will inspire the most entrepreneurs to finally step into their element.
This is, and I keep pointing to my book because I wrote about this, a lot of this in my book. But I was a single mom, teenage mom. I actually walked across the stage of graduation my senior year in high school, pregnant, 5 months pregnant. So big stomach, going on 6 months. I had my son one day before college classes started. And so I ended up, it's a whole story, but I ended up having to stay home and take my college classes at the college, the community college. I had him on August 19th. Classes started on the 20th. So I had to, hey, do all that to get ready for school. But even before then, my parents were divorced. There was a lot of domestic violence, rocky relationship. My dad was incarcerated. So it was just a roller coaster of so many struggles. And then, of course, having a child and trying to go to law school with the child. And I'm telling you, the struggle was real. And I wrote about it in my book. But the journey, of course, made me stronger. It makes my life right now more meaningful. Things right now, of course, are great. And I just, as much as we don't want to go through the struggle, there is you learn a lot. And so I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful that, first of all, that I got through it, but for the people who helped me. I talk about that in my book. I have a chapter that's called Strength in Community. And so there is strength, of course, in numbers, which is why you want to start this professional organization or this professional association, because there's strength in numbers. And had I not had the people praying for me, lifting me up, pushing, just giving me an encouraging word. Sometimes all you need to do is be an encourager. You don't even have to give anybody any money. You don't have to do any of that. Just tell them that, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. And I had people like that in my corner, which is, I think, one of the instrumental reasons why I was able to overcome the struggles and be where I am today. So yeah, the struggle was real, but the struggle was for the good, all for good.
All right. So I got two more follow-up questions. Diversity is important. You're in personal injury. So, what do you do to make people feel more included in that field specifically? There aren't as many personal injury lawyers who are minority that we know about, right? We know about Alexander Shinara very well, and
I don't be plugging nobody in my.
I'm just letting you know that's what we know. Right? When
I'm just
people,
saying. Hey, I love everybody. We
whenever
all gonna eat.
whenever somebody came over my house or found out I was a lawyer, they're like, "You should go work for Alexander." I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, that's all lawyers don't want to go work for Alex." So tell me what you're doing to make it more inclusive or more included for people that are looking like you that want to enter this field.
Well, let me say this because I've heard Alex is a great person. So Alex is doing what he's doing, and that's good for him. And I'm all for everybody. Like I said, we're all gonna eat, so that's good. One of the things that I feel like, and I'm not even feeling like I'm doing this because of diversity or anything like that, but there are Black women who are not even in personal injury, but kind of dabble in it or do a little bit. And hey, they'll call me up and say, what do I need to do on this case? Or what do I need to do here or there? I'm going to tell them what they need to do. And, I feel like even getting down to that level and giving people the, advice or, giving them the steps that they need to take in your field to help them be better at what they're doing. I mean, what else can you ask for? So any woman that has a personal injury question and you don't have anybody that to call, or maybe you maxed out, because sometimes you call people and you're like, I don't want to call that person because I called them last week. Call me. I'll talk to you. We'll work through it to make sure that you're successful and that you can do the best job for your client as you can. And I'm gonna plug this for a little bit. I had somebody to call me. I hope she hears this, but I had somebody call me just last week and ask me about a case, two cases that she had, and she's like, they offered me this. It's not that much. What do I need to do? I was talking to her as I was telling her what to do. The adjuster called at that moment. She talked to the adjuster, told the adjuster exactly what I told her to say. She called me back. She's like, look, I got policy limits on both of those cases. And policy limits, once you get policy limits, that's it. So she was just so excited. She's like, hey, bro, I can't believe I did exactly what you told me to do. So call me. That's how I think we lift each other up that way, by providing the advice, giving the encouragement. So yeah, that's my little piece on diversity. I mean, I'm probably out here like doing a whole lot of diversity classes and things, but I'm gonna you call me, we're gonna make sure you get what you need.
All right. And then during COVID, you probably had to innovate. You might have had some remote internship positions available. Are those things you still have available right now? Is that something that you guys are looking into as you guys continue to innovate and become more COVID aware? Just give us a little feedback on that.
So COVID, one good thing about my practice, like I talked about earlier, was I started practicing out of my basement. So I was used to the whole virtual kind of setup. Even though I have this office space, all my files here, a lot of my stuff was already virtual. So I met clients virtually. We were already had this case management system that they can go into. They can sign their contract. Like all of that, I had already had that stuff laid out before COVID hit. So there was no impact there. I had a virtual paralegal and I still have her. But what I did do, I did hire an in-person intern during COVID, well, after kind of slowed down and now it's picked back up. And so we have enough space here where we can, space out and we're not all in here at the same time and all of that. But innovation with COVID, I think that for those of us who did not have these systems in place, like if you still don't, now is the time, because this is the future of the practice of law. It's the future of, I think, industries, period. We're going to need to know how to Zoom and sign electronically and all of that kind of stuff, because I don't think we're going to go back 100% to where we were beforehand.
Awesome. And if they liked your talk, or maybe they wanted some type of, professional business association, how can they contact you?
Hey, you have my email address. I'm not sure if you still have it strolling, but you can just email me at info@acollinslaw.com, or you can give me a call at 205-588-1411. I would love to talk to you about starting your professional organization Or, of course, if you have a case or if you're ever injured and need my services, I am here to help you, you or your family. So reach out, I'll get with you.
So that is the end of the presentation. You guys have done really great in being engaging. Thank you so much for the feedback that we got during the session. Again, if you really, really liked April, then tell her we like that information. Her email is scrolling across the bottom still. So I want to make sure you guys continue to reach out to the people that I'm connecting you with. My skill from the Gallup Strength Finders test, you should all take that test, is connection. I connect others to other people. So I'm a connector. I like to connect people. So you guys, if anything April said resonated with you and you want to do it, cool. Reach out to her. She's giving you her contact information and tons of knowledge that you did not have before today. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Black Woman Mean Business Conference. And if you guys really like information, you guys should go to this next informational session. That was April. Your next person who's up is going to be Cameron Buckner about social media branding and marketing strategies. So tune into that real soon. Thank you guys so much. Me and April are going to record a feedback